this is another fascinating video having to do with Saturn and Saturn's rings, and what NASA scientists, through their imaging from telescope photos have found. And they claim that there are ring makers of Saturn's rings. The ring makers of Saturn, respected ex-NASA scientist says giant spheres are creating these rings. And of course, this has to do with the evidence from the images. The video is a clip from Project Camelot's Carrie Cassidy interviewing the renowned, famous Dr. Norman Berggren from Berggren Aerospace, and what's really going on in space, in our solar system. He's a mechanical engineer. Dr. Berggren has worked for Ames Research Laboratory, NASA, NACA, National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, and Lockheed Missiles and Space Company, known as Lockheed Martin today. He then went on to found Berggren Engineering and Research, and you can view some of his publications for NASA, where he worked for more than a decade in the link here. But coming from such a distinguished background, we can make several basic assumptions about him, not least of which is that he is highly intelligent and qualified. From what he said from one of the past videos I watched, he also has a law degree. But going back to this, we can also assume that he knows and has worked with other intelligent and powerful people, and he has had access to extremely sensitive data, which he himself makes clear in the interview in his book, The Ringmakers of Saturn. Now, what makes Norman's story intriguing is not only his impressive background, but facts that hundreds of other scientists and politicians and high-ranking military personnel have also shared information concerning this, likewise. And he's just one of the many insiders exposing the reality of identified flying objects and extraterrestrial beings. Now, when former NASA astronaut, Princeton physics professor Dr. Brian O'Leary said that there is abundant evidence, quote, that we are being contacted, that civilizations have been visiting us for a very long time, and quote, he was not joking, he was serious about that. We also have this in legends and also in the Emerald tablets. Something has been going on, obviously. Now, there are even those that say that the Atlanteans had this technology. Even Manly P. Hall, in one of the videos recently that we did on him, he put in his insight, and he says that a lot of these crafts that we're seeing around us today could be the leftover remnants of the Atlanteans that are still here. They used to live thousands of years. But anyway, going back to this, there are now officially declassified documents that verify a long history of military encounters with these objects. Objects which are performing maneuvers that no known aircraft can perform with the technology that we have today, all while traveling at speeds no known aircraft can travel. Not only that, but at the same time, the pilots visually confirm their sightings of these objects. These objects are being tracked on both air and ground radar. Dr. Jacques Vallée, notable for co-developing the first computerized mapping of Mars for NASA and for his work at SRI International on the Network Information Center for ARPANET, A-R-P-A-N-E-T, that's a precursor to the modern internet, explains in the Journal of Scientific Exploration, titled Estimates of Optical Power Output in 6 Cases of Unexplained Aerial Objects with Defined Luminosity Characteristics. And you can see pictures taken by military pilots of the objects that they encountered. And when entering into the vicinity of these objects, it's not uncommon for electrical equipment to just turn off and go dead, not work. And UFOs have also been seen hovering around global nuclear missile facilities. And there have been reports that these facilities completely shut down and the nukes within go offline. Now, according to Herman Oberth, one of the founding fathers of rocketry and astronautics, quote, flying saucers are real. They are spaceships from another solar system. End quote. I think they possibly are manned by intelligent observers who are members of a race that may have been investigating our Earth for centuries. This is what Oberth Herman says. Flying saucers come from a distant world. This is what what was written on American Weekly, October 24th, 1954. There are hundreds of shocking quotes from people of reputable backgrounds, thousands of documents pertaining to the UFO phenomenon, which lead even more credibility to the video below. Quote, what I found out is these things inhabit Saturn. There's where I first discovered them, and they're proliferating. This is what Norman Bergram says. By the way, the ships Norman speaks of around the rings of Saturn are huge. He also is one of many ex-scientists who have accused the agency of garbling photos to hide things that they don't want the public to see. But there's also a twist. Alexander, I find this discovery to be both fascinating and chilling at the same time for the following reason. My constant readers are probably aware that our souls are trapped in a matrix reality from which we can't escape. Both this dimension and the afterlife are programs designed to keep us enslaved. David Icke and many others, researchers, pointed out that the broadcasting station of this matrix prison reality is Saturn, which works together with our moon space station to control every aspect of our lives. And that's why I say it's both fascinating and chilling to have discovered the Ringmakers of Saturn. Those are mankind's enslavers, he says. This by Arjun Walia and amended by Alexander Light on Humans Are Free. Well, I don't know about enslaving souls, but that's too far-fetched. I'm sorry to connect it with all these things. But obviously, there could have been pre-flood humanoids or whatever, our ancestors, whatever you would call them, that had very high technology. We know that the ancient Greeks even the ancient Greeks had high technology. We did a video recently on the lightning rod of Zeus. It was a secret thing that, a secret artifact that Alexander the Great had, supposedly, and Alexander the Great supposedly got to the ends of China, and there he erected a column engraved with the message that King Alexander has arrived up to here. In other words, it was close to China, just across from Japan, and the message also said that he has hidden the lightning rod of Zeus so that it cannot be found. And supposedly for him to have that, he was using it. And it looks to me that it was something like a laser ejector. And the copy of that is found in one of the Buddhist monasteries in Nepal. That supposedly was an artifact that he used as to his advantage, as a weapon, that came to him from Hyperborea. Hyperborea is where ancient Greeks were in the Arctic, where they had notes of the white wolves. White wolves are only found in the Arctic. So this thing came to him from Hyperborea, and Hyperborea was one of the areas where the Atlanteans were living. So, yeah, there was advanced technology. Ancients had advanced technology, and they even had robots, and they even had space flight and interdimensional zipping in and out of interdimensions. And that was one of the things, according to the Emerald Tablets and Thoth the Atlantean, that they should not have been doing, because they were bringing in entities from other dimensions to the demise of our world and our humanity, and that was not to be done. And even recorded in the Old Testament, they were done away with. There were many floods in Earth's history. One of them had to do with the sinking of Atlantis and the doing away of these giants of renown, the old men of the Genesis Old Testament recordings. And they were then, and they even after the flood, they lived. This is according to the Old Testament and also to the Emerald Tablets. Thoth says that they went to other areas of the world, and they were so advanced that a lot of people thought that they were, quote-unquote, gods, Okay, I guess, for example, like the gods of the mythological ancient Greek, the ancient Greek legends, and they had established new cities in other areas of the world, and they could still be around today. What can I tell you? I don't think it's our souls that are in a matrix. Our souls are a very divine thing, and they live forever. They're immortal. But there are such things as what we would call energy transfers. You know, have you ever been in an area where you're sitting with a person that's really negative and you feel your energy is drained? You know, they're like an energy vampire type of thing, or in a location that does that to you. Yeah, that happens. Okay, so I'll leave a link below for you for this on Humans Are Free by Alexander Light, and please tell me what you think. And I'll give you the link of the very, very informative video. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.